All right. Hi. Thanks, guys. I just had to take a break. So I had intended to put this video along with the live, but it went longer than I thought. So, all right. So let me pull this one up and we'll get started. Let's see here. Okay, so basically, I get this asked. I get asked this all the time, right? Like how to detach from someone or how to pull back your energy. Yeah, because comes up in tarot all the time. It's something that all of us tarot readers are always saying, like, oh, you need to pull back your energy, or oh, you need to detach, or what have you. So, but how? How do we do that? And there's like tons of videos, I'm sure, out there on YouTube. I haven't really explored many of them, so I can't really like recommend any, that are particularly good. But I'm sure there's a whole slew of them. I know I've run across, ones before, like the, cutting cord type things and all that kind of deal. All those things are helpful, but if that worked like truly, and I'm not saying it does, I'm not here to like bash anything or what have you, but I mean if it truly worked, some of the like cord cutting rituals and things like that, then I mean we would just always do that. I mean, like if we had a breakup, we'd just like, oh, I got to do that cord cutting ritual and then everything would be fine, right? So it's like I don't think all that stuff, I mean it's helpful because any type of like ritual, I think that's usually what's behind that kind of thing, is because you're putting so much focus and energy onto it that it can be helpful in certain ways. So I'm not necessarily against it or anything like that. I just don't think it's going to be the actual thing that's going to be the end all be all to detach from someone. And I think mostly, I mean, basically what I have is, because I always like to write out notes, so I wrote how to detach. And the first thing I wrote is logic and be real. Okay. So one of the things too is that, I mean, I know you guys are all looking like, or not you guys all, but we're all looking for the answer how to do this. And my answer is there really is no answer except time and space. Those two things are needed. That is really what's going to be the magical cure for this, is truly time and space. And by that means time, literal time needs to go by. Space needs to be given. And by space, well, I'm not seeing them. That's no problem. Well, but are you checking their social media? Are you, doing these other, because that's an invasion of space, in a sense. So, time and space are the two things I feel the strongest about that. And I know that's no magical solution, but those are the two things I feel are the most. However, what can we do in the meantime while that time and space are transferring? Hey guys, hi, the Empress. All right, hi, everybody. So I mean, basically, the thing is like we are creatures of habit and we are creatures of desires. All right, that's basically. I mean, that's not what we are, but that's what we've been led to believe. Okay, so it's very difficult, especially like if you're talking about a long term, because there's different ways to detach. Some people need to detach from a very long term relationship. Some people need to detach from just an infatuation of someone maybe that they work with, that they just desire so much, but they haven't actually had a relationship with. Other people need to, some people don't need to detach. Some people just have that person ripped and torn from their life, losing someone, or something like that. So there's different things. Again, there's like all these different categories. So, but we're talking about the standard type of thing that like I would deal with like in a day-to-day basis, like via love readings and personal readings and things like that, where things aren't working out with somebody. It's very on and off. It's not the healthiest thing for you. You guys break up and then it's like, there's still this desire for this person and things like that. So again, depending on time. So if it's been a long-term relationship, like where you guys have like spent a lot of time together and things like that, well, I mean, that's really difficult because there's this dependency upon each other, or this codependency, if you will. So one of the first things to realize, I'd say, in like that type of situation is that you are, if you've been in a long-term situation and then there's a breakup, there's no more things about like being responsible for the other person, nor are they responsible for you anymore. If there's a breakup, there's a breakup. And again, that's where time and space come in to heal the situation. So it's like, but realizing that, like, you know, like if you're the one who was broken up with, then it's like realizing that that person is no longer like responsible for you. And it's hard because this person you shared time with, they know all your stories, all your things. So like when that person yells at you at work, and it's like, you know, that person that you were with is the only one that understands that or knows the details or the background and the history. Of course you want to run to them and say, hey, can you believe what happened? Or, you know, these types of things, but they're no longer responsible for that anymore. So, and the same, like if you're the one who's done the breakup or what have you, it's like, you're not responsible for them anymore either. So it's like, you know, allowing that space and that time and needing to, you know, look to other ways then to solve things that may come up. And that's very difficult in a long-term relationship, especially like a marriage or something for, you know, 20 years or, you know, I mean, you guys were dependent on each other. So that's a whole different scenario. But that's one of the key things to realize is that neither one of you then, if you split, if you've divorced, if you've done, you know, neither one of you are responsible for each other anymore. That does not mean you do not have, you know, that you don't have feelings or you don't love this person or, you know, anything like that. But it's just the relationship is no longer like a functioning unit that you are responsible for or that you play a role in. So understanding that, and that's where like we have these two words that I wrote down in the beginning, logic and be real with ourselves. So we have to look at things logically too. So let's take a shorter term scenario, or the scenario where like you're pining for someone that just isn't responding back, or, you know, that type of deal. Like I've seen people, I've seen examples of people that literally have like pined away for someone for years, and like many years. And oddly, I see this in men. Men will do this a lot, and they just there's like that one woman, you know, and they may date others or, you know, something like that, but there's just always this like, you know, pining for this one person or what have you. But I see it in women too, and or like I said, the common scenario of like working with someone, and it's like you develop this like huge attraction for them or something like that. I've been victim of that one myself quite a few times, so I'll admit it. And it's like, that's, you know, they're all you can think about. They're invading your energy. It's like you can, you know, all these types of things, right? Well, all of that is where we have to look at logic and then being real with ourselves. Because one of the most important things to realize too is that if we're going to like lead spiritual lives or go down the spiritual path and things like that, then we have to actually practice those things, you know, and one of those things then is basically believing in a higher source or a higher, you know, so I say God, but, you know, you can use universe, what have you. But if universe really and truly wants you or needs you to be with this person, you will be with that person. So if you are not, like if someone is fighting it or someone is resisting, it's like, don't give them some like magical power that says that they're above, you know, universe or something like that, because it's like, if universe, in other words, like if universe wants you to, like, here's the person that's resisting, let's say, all right, and here's the person that's like pining for the situation. So if universe wants you to be together, God, what have you, you're going to be together. All right, I don't know if it's going to be forever, but you guys will be together if it is meant to be. Okay, so resistor over here. So this means like if you keep thinking that, oh, well, they just need to realize this, or, oh, they just need to do that, or, you know, oh, once they see this, if you're in that mode, you know, of this constant bombarding like type energy, well, then that's like, that's like you saying that this person over here has some kind of magical superpower that trumps like God and universe. because again, if God and the universe wants you together, you're going to be together. So if so that's the realism of the situation. So if this person's resisting, it's not is it because wow, they're so like above that they can tell God, oh no, I resist, I don't want to. No, so then we got to look at the reality. The reality is this person does not feel this. They don't feel the magnetic pull that you do. And why does this happen? It happens because this person has something we want or we desire. Now, I don't want to go into too many like way background things with stuff, but there is something, and this is where logic is going to come in to look at in a scenario, because I guarantee you 99.9% of the time that we are like wanting someone so badly, it's because things compound. All right. So, I mean, that's just the way like nature works, or like our brains work. All right. So you start thinking about this person and you want them and you like them and oh, I like the way they do this or they do that. And oh, that smile, or, whatever. Right. Or, oh, I like the way they talk to me. So whatever it is about them, it's like you like that. Okay, so it starts with that, but then it's like there's like all these other things that start compounding, and it builds and builds and builds and builds. But if you're not getting like that same magnetic energy from the other person towards you, well, then that's just going to make you want it more, because that's what we do as human beings, right? We want things we can't have. We desire things that we can't have. So treat it like you would any other things. Like, hey, I don't know about you, but I desire, like a kick-ass Palm Springs mid-century with a pool and, a kick-ass Shelby in the driveway. All right. So it's like, sure, that's what I want and I desire. But the reality of that, and not saying I can't make that happen, manifestation and all that, I'm not going into that. But the reality is, well, that's not happening. All right. It's not happening. That Shelby and that Palm Springs house isn't magnetically pulling me, like they don't need me, so it's like I need to understand that just because, we have these things that just keep compounding. But what I was going to say was 99.9% of the time, we want this person because it distracts us from ourselves. All right. So it's because we know we have to do something about ourselves, or like whether it's improve our finances or improve our health or improve our habits or anything, what have you, anything that we are not dealing with. When do we start getting obsessed with someone? When those things come up. All right. And that's 99.9% of the time. It's not necessarily the person that you are, you think it is. You think you're, oh my God, I just love them. I love everything about them and all these things. But in reality, and I always tell this to people, really think about this, because let's take that person, let's plop them in your house. They're sitting next to you now. All right. But now it's been 6 years with this person. All right. And it's like, I guarantee you that feeling that you have like right now is, even if they were sitting right next to you 6 years later, you're not going to feel that way anymore. That doesn't mean that you can't love them, or that you're going to fall out of love with someone or something like that, or that it's not possible. But it's just that desperate, like, yearning is not going to be there. So in fact, you might even find yourself a little annoyed with them, or, you don't like the way they brush their teeth, or, something like that, right? It's like, there's like, the reality of the situation is that we just build all this stuff up in our brains. So, and it's like, you guys know all this, you know it. I know you do, but that's why there's no magic answer. The magic answer is to just stop. And that's what you got to do. You've just got to stop. Every time you find yourself thinking of this person, you have to change gears. Make yourself a keyword or something like that, a mantra. All right. Like, think of something positive in your life that you would like to manifest. All right. Shelby. All right. So I'd like a Shelby or a Cobra. All right. Those cool cars. I don't know what they're called. All right. So let's just use that as an example. All right. So if I'm hung up on somebody and like I can't get them out of my brain, they're on my brain 24/7. The second I think about them, what I'm going to do now is switch gears and think Shelby. Okay. So, but make it something like crazy, or like just like different, that's really going to snap you out of it, and just say that word to yourself, whatever it may be. Like pick your own word. It can be whatever, but it's like the cool thing is you might end up manifesting that in the process. But the trick is that just like anything else that's like all this craziness in our brain, we have to train it away. So it's not going to be a magic. There's no magic cure for detaching, because emotions are real. Attachment is real. But if it's not reciprocated, that's when we need to be real. All right. And we cannot expect that person to, oh, if they just see this, oh, if they just see that. No. If God or universe wanted them to see this or that, they would. Okay, so none of that thinking like, oh, if I could just get them alone for 5 minutes and tell them this, if I could just do, no. Universe would orchestrate that if they wanted it. All right, so it's like getting real with yourself. So each time that you think about this situation, this person, what have you, use your other word to pull yourself out of it. That's the only thing I can suggest in that way. All right. And the other thing is to learn from this. All right. Because guaranteed that whatever the situation is, it will repeat it, because you will forget about this person eventually. 99.9% of you will. All right. I mean, again, it's going to be different circumstances for others. Like if you've lost someone, like I said, like a sudden death or, something. Well, no, you're not just going to lose them and all that and forget about them. Of course not. But, in a situation like this, I guarantee you, I mean, how many times here's another thing to realize too. And this is why, like the Hanged Man card asks you to look at things from different perspectives. Well, think of a time when you have been in this position where someone has just been like bombarding your energy and you just weren't into it. You weren't feeling it. All right. But yet you could just feel their presence, that they were so into you and all that. Right. So you've been there. Would there have been anything in the world that would have changed your mind? Right? No. So it's like being real with ourselves in that situation and looking at things from different perspectives, seeing other sides of the coin. Because what we're doing, if you really love someone, it's like you're not going to put that kind of energy on them. That's not love. That's obsession. And that's not what the universe is trying to orchestrate for you. So learn from this. There's something to be learned. And most likely what is to be learned is that you are distracting yourself from doing something else that does need attention. Anything that brings us closer to self-love, to self-empowerment, those are the lessons that are in there somewhere. They're almost always geared around that lesson. So let's see, what else? Okay, yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at those. Okay, so one last point I'll make too is like, if you really sincerely like feel like this is absolutely your person and nobody's going to change your mind and all those things, but again, in keeping in mind, if God or universe wants you together, they're going to put you together. But then this is where you got to get cosmic with it. So it may not happen. It may that's one of the things you have to accept. I actually came to this conclusion once myself. There was someone who I was like certain they were like going to be my person. They just had all the qualities, right? And it's like I really was into this person. Well, the person did not feel that same way about me, so it was difficult. We had this great connection, all these things, and it was very difficult to take. And I went through the whole, well, if they could just see this, or if they could just all of that kind of stuff, right? But then the logic side of me, the higher spiritual side of me, whatever, gave me the conclusion that, what, if I really do care about this person, if I really do see them as like this ideal partner in this way, then we will be. We will be at some time. And that's where, again, you got to walk the talk if you're going to be on the spiritual path. So it was difficult, but it really wasn't, actually. And that's what was really cool, because I was kind of, Scorpios can get obsessed. We can get pretty damn obsessed. And I wasn't like obsessed, like stalky obsessed. I've never been like that ever in my life. I'm the most least non-clingy person ever. But it's like, but I was, as far as my energy and thinking about this person. So I reined it in. Because if I'm going to walk the walk, or talk the talk, I'm going to walk the walk. So I reined it in, and because I realized quickly, this person's not going to return this interest. And it's like, once I had that, answer, because I asked, and, the answer was no. So once I had that, then it's like, I knew I had to let that go for their benefit, so that I didn't throw all of my heavy ass obsessive energy on them, rein it in, and just know and accept that, yeah, I really like this person, and I bet on a different timeline or a different place, we are going to be together. And it's going to be really good then, because it's going to be right. All right. So anyway, let me look at any comments here or anything like that going on. It is hard to accept, but, again, space and time, those are definitely the ingredients. And, if all the other stuff helps in the meantime, I mean, the thing is, I don't really recommend the ritual things and the cord cutting things and things. And again, not because I'm bashing that kind of stuff, but it's like, it's just more obsessiveness, because it's more trying to get, just think of like the laws of attraction, right? The more you try to accomplish something, or the more you focus on something, I think the more you're gaining things you don't want. All right. So it's like, it's best to just like, the second that person comes into your mind, trigger word over here, whatever your new mantra is, or your new word, just go there. All right. And, that type of thing. Let's see. For those looking for all sign readings, I just did that earlier. So you can just go on my channel icon and you can see the all sign readings. I just did that about half an hour ago. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I think that pretty well covered it. Also, too, I mentioned the membership thing I'm going to be doing soon. So I'll put the link of it in this video. But we'll basically be diving into things like this, but like way more researched, and they won't be live and off the cuff like this. So, because I have tons of, if there's one thing in this life, because it's like, people always say, why don't you life coach, or why? Because no, I'm not like rich. I'm not running around in BMWs and shit. It's like, I'm not going to be a life coach, but the one passion I have, and the one talent I have, and that may sound egotistical, I don't care, because it's like, there's a lot of shit I suck at, but there's one thing I'm really good at, and it's common sense. It is knowing how to navigate human emotions, and how to find like your power, your truth, and your inward confidence, which that is what pays off in spades. So in that way, I'm super rich. All right. So that's what my thing is going to be about. So my membership thing that I talked about in the daily live, I'll link it in this video once I'm done, but you can check it out. It's like $15. I think I'm going to make it. It's going to be videos and lives where I will do tarot for like a question and things like that. So for $15 a month, it's like you throw out a super chat for that, right? And you're going to get a question answered exclusively on a membership only live. So, all right, I'm going to leave that there. I hope you guys found this somewhat useful, and I wish I could give you some magic freaking, great formula to make it so simple, but that's what I'm here to say. It's not, and it's time and space. So just start your trigger word now. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. And I'll look forward to reading back the comments. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.